Hi everybody, this is the Red Viking Princess. And in my last video, my encounter with Bigfoot, again, that was absolutely true. That was my story. I actually mentioned in that video that I have been saved at least 7 times that I know of, miraculously from certain deaths. And this is actually one of those stories. So hopefully you think this is crazy too and wild. It is, but it's true. So this particular event actually happened in California on one of the freeways here in Southern California. And if you know anything about rush hour traffic out here, you know that it's crazy. So if you're from a rural area or some other area and you don't know what I'm talking about, rush hour is insane. It's basically when most of the people are either going to work or they're coming home. So what happens? The freeways are absolutely packed. So you can end up having either total gridlock where you're going like 1 mile an hour and you're stopped here and there, extremely frustrating. It can actually literally take you 4 hours to get 60 miles, which is not fun. But there are other times when it's rush hour and there's actually just a lot of traffic and it's flowing, but that's typically early on when people are trying to get the heck out of there and get out of the whole freeway scene so they don't end up in that total gridlock where you're going like 1 mile an hour. So that's exactly when this event happened. This was on one of the freeways that tends to get extremely busy, and it was early on during rush hour in the evening, early evening. It was about 5 o'clock, possibly 5:15, somewhere around there. And in this particular freeway, there are 5 lanes in each direction. And I was married at the time, just like in the Bigfoot encounter. And my husband was actually driving, and I was in the passenger seat. We were actually in the fast lane. So on this particular freeway, it's kind of strange because there's a big center divider right next to the fast lane, and there's a big curve. So where we were actually driving, you could hardly see anything in front of you because you were heading up to this curve. Okay, lots of cars. You have to understand, packed with cars, but everyone's kind of moving and they're trying to get the heck out of there so they don't get trapped in this total gridlock. So moving pretty fast, but again, a ton of cars, so a ton of people. So here we are, and he's driving, and again, I'm in the passenger seat, and we're tooling along here, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear a voice, very distinct, and the voice said, "Move over." Well, I'm looking around. I know it's not my husband. It's not his voice, and his mouth isn't moving. It's certainly not me. I'm not talking out loud or talking to myself. So I'm surmising it was the voice of God. And I knew we needed to get over right away. So I looked over to my husband and I said, "You need to move over right now." And he didn't even question me, with the tone that I used. So immediately he moved over from that fast lane to the next lane over. Well, it wasn't 2 seconds later, some car came going at least 90 to 100 miles an hour going the wrong way in that lane that we were just in the fast lane. So if we wouldn't have moved over, that would have been it for us. It would have been a total head-on collision. I'm sure we would have died because of the impact of that car just going so fast. So we were pretty shaken up and got home and everything, and we actually watched the news that night to find out what actually had happened after we got out of there. Well, there was a man that was very distraught, and on purpose, he got on the freeway going in the wrong direction because he wanted to kill a bunch of people and kill himself. And he did that. So apparently the people behind us somewhere were hit and instantly died, and he died as well. So that was a total miracle in the fast lane in Southern California, and I will never, ever forget that, and I will never forget the tone of that voice and that voice. I believe I have heard that voice before, most of the time when I was really young. And maybe this sounds crazy to a lot of you, but I used to sit cross-legged on the ground outside. I'd go off by myself and sit in one of the fields. I grew up partially on a farm, and I'd be sitting in the fields talking to God, and I heard his voice many times, but sometimes I would just get an impression of him, but that was the same voice. So I'm here, I'm good, and I'm so grateful that I didn't end up, dying that day. That could have been it for me. So watch out, because a lot of times I think that people are involved in these miraculous situations and you don't always see it. Now that was very, very obvious. There's no way around that. I don't know how anybody could explain that other than it was God. I'm going to put it to you this way. Satan certainly wouldn't do that. He wouldn't be saving us, and there was no one else in the car. And there's no way that we would have known that car was coming. No way. So look around and really be observant, and I bet you will see miracles as well. I believe that there are many of them that go unnoticed during the day. So well, take care, and again, I will be bringing you more stories and also more natural products. Again, I am a naturopath, so I'm trying to impart some knowledge on you in that field. I have been doing that for quite a while now, and it's been awesome. So remember to subscribe and tinkle the little bell so that you know when the next video will come out, and who knows what the next one's gonna be about. Again, all my stories, all true, and I think really interesting. My life has been anything but boring. So again, I'm sharing this with you, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.